Hello everybody. I'm trying to look as miserable as possible. Miserable as possible. Anyway, that's going to be hard, isn't it? Because I'm generally quite cheerful. But this is a video in the Gary series about, I don't know what it's about. He told Fred what it was about. Just to make it right, it's a debate, put life out of its misery. But in the video, I think he said something like, is life worthwhile or something. Anyway, it's along those sort of lines. And this video is sparking off a comment that I actually saw last night. This is now first thing in the morning, Thursday morning. Bah. And somebody wrote, how do you fellow anti-natalists make it through the day? Now, I don't know what an anti-natalist is, but I imagine it's something along the lines of anybody who expresses what Gary and I are expressing. I think there are a couple of other people that might be expressing it, and I'm not quite sure if Fred does or not. Anyway, what are we expressing if we're expressing anything? I think the thing is, while making my cup of tea this morning, I was thinking, well, what is the poster? What is the expression? And the word I'm going to come to in the end is futile in American. Is life worthwhile? Can it have meaning, purpose? And then you see, I get all sorts of problems with words about how to describe it, because each word has got its own little meaning. But futile is not bad in English, and meaning it's feudal in American, which is all right, except it sounds a bit like feudal, from the medieval times of jousting and knights and ladies and falling in love. Falling in love was a habit then, no, a craze. This falling in love and doing crazy things for the woman, for the princess, it was actually a meme that went through for I don't know how long, couple of hundred years or something, of this falling deeply in love. It was a craze. Anyway, what was that about? Feudal. Oh yes, so that's feudal. It's futile in American and futile in United Kingdom, or the rest of the world that doesn't say feudal. Get on with it, Nick. Get on with it, Nick. Right. So what the idea of this video is to throw things out there to you YouTube brains to come up with something that's not feudal. So I'll give you a couple of ideas of how to maybe go about it. You could try anything, just think of something. But when making tea this morning, I thought of the sun coming up in the morning. Is that futile or not? And you go, well, see, this is to drive your brain into thinking what I'm thinking about. For the sun, it's futile because it's just what it does. It's just a ball of gases that it doesn't go round and round. But should we say it goes round and round just to make life easier, and so we don't have to talk about other things. So this gaseous ball, hot thing, just going round and round the earth. So it just feels wrong being so wrong, but it doesn't matter. Going round and warming us up every, for a portion of each day, and making life live, and then going to the underside and making the other lot live, and then going round and round and doing those things. But is that futile or not? And then you've got, the sun coming up in the morning, all going round and doing what it does. And you go, well, obviously you've got to then have a knock-on, haven't you? Because you can't really say it's good for the sun. This is where I went on so much about the word futile. It's got no meaning for the sun. It's got no use for the sun. It's not doing anything useful for itself that we know about, but maybe as a YouTube person you know about, and if so, comments and videos. But it's got to have a secondary knock-on effect, which is kind of, well, it's useful because if not, after, how long would it take without the sun coming up? A week before we started dying? Probably something like that. But certainly after a year, let's say, most things would be dead. I can't do the physics quick enough to know which would be the most lethal part of it not coming up every morning. But I think we can understand we need the sun. So after a year, everything would be dead. 10 years, certainly. Whatever. I don't know. Even the things that live in the dark. Anyway, but you get the idea. We would be in a serious position of poo-poo. We would not be happy that the sun didn't come up. So does that give the sun coming up meaning? And I'd say it only gives it meaning if we have meaning. And this is obviously what I'm trying to get you to have a go at. What, us getting up in the morning, does that have meaning? And that's what you've got to answer. That's what the bottom line is. I don't know what this, and I've forgotten what the word was now that he used, but maybe there is an expression for people like me that put this forward that says there is absolutely no meaning at all about anything at all. It is all futile. And it's not futile in a way that it's wasting its time. That's a bad way of saying it, because that kind of implies there's something better to do. There's nothing better to do. It's just futile. It's just always and ever and forever will be a complete waste of time. Now, that's us here, me looking at it from where I sit here and explaining it to you. Now, you can have your own ideas about that, and you can make a video to explain that it's not futile and how meaningful it is. But I'll cast it out even further to a great mind game, open, hypothetical thing. Try and think of anything that's not futile. Try and think of an idea of anything in the entire universe that might not be meaningless, absolutely meaningless. You can use all the planets, all the stars, everything that's ever been invented, everything that could be invented. Invent things. Have a planet like Earth that for a billion years we're being attacked by planet Zog, and planet Zog are coming and trying to steal our energy, and we use what energy we can to stay alive and to fight off the Zogists and kill as many Zogists as we can, and everybody on the planet is doing that, fighting Zog off. So you say, well, that gives life meaning because it's to stay alive to fight the Zogists. But are you starting to get the idea? Yeah, it's just contrived, isn't it? It's just you're just making it up as you go along. You're saying, well, we can accept. Yes, all right, very good. That's what you've developed into, is a great earth of things, people that fight off Zogists, stay alive just to fight Zogists. And that is not futile because why? Which would be just the equivalent of the United Kingdom fighting France or whatever it might be. It's just the same, isn't it, really? Or me fighting my neighbour because he wants to come and kill me, and me saving myself is not futile. Why? You know, me not just going, oh, head here, please. What's the difference? What changes? What possibly could change would be people, the earth, the world might be taken over by people that are just very violent with big sticks. Ooh. And all the gentle, wonderful, intelligent, poetic people like Mystic are all dead and wiped out and never come back again. And the whole earth is covered by people that go around going, ooh, 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 ooh. And that would be meaningful. How exactly? Okay. Now, I think you've got the idea. So I've given you complete carte blanche to make up whatever you like, to find a scenario where some sort of life is meaningful or not futile. Got it? Okay, that's fine. So I'll finish with a wee joke, because looking at Gary's videos, I've found something that I found really quite amusing. And it goes along the lines of this, that Gary puts out just say basically what I just said there. He blames a lot on the DNA and how we're owned by the DNA, which explains my last video, asking him to do a nice clean video about why the DNA is so important in this. So I'm not very good at jokes. Okay, so there's Gary. I'm sure most of you have seen a Gary video. I'll link to another one. So he gives it this hard sell on DNA. It's American. Doing this and how you're owned, and every human being's owned by the DNA, and mice and trees and everything that's DNA based is just being. I explained it once. Quite decently, I think, that makes it quite easy to be understood, that a chicken is an egg's way of making another egg. As in, all the chickens living, they're not living for anything, they're futile, meaningless, but if they have meaning, and if this world has meaning, which when you see what we're saying, it doesn't really, because it's just DNA makes a chicken just to keep it going long enough in time so it can make some more DNA, so it can make another chicken, so in time there's more DNA, which is the same. So if the game of the universe is to pass things replicating in a very similar way into the future, if that's the game, which is pretty futile, DNA's got it nailed with its egg and chicken idea. But you can see that the chicken is just a contrived Frankenstein contraption for passing on DNA through time. Okay, just like we are, of course, and a tree is, and grass and all that sort of stuff. So there's us totally being used by the DNA just to pass themselves, the little strands of DNA and maybe RNA, I don't know, in time. And it's not as though, it's so futile that DNA is dominating it, but DNA hasn't even got a clue what it's doing. So you've got that gist of the way Gary pushes it. And I've seen answers or comments coming at him which are along the lines of, "You just don't understand. You've never had children, the wonder of bringing up a baby and the bonding you do and the love and all that." And the people that write that sort of comment or make that sort of video can't see how utterly hilarious that is. Can you? Do you see it? I do hope so. Sometimes I wonder on YouTube how much people can understand anything. So I'll leave that with you. Hopefully you understood the paradox of that last joke. And I'm giving you carte blanche to explain or find anything in the entire world or invent a new universe where something might not be futile. Okay? Good luck with that. Comments and videos, and if they come to me, I'll send them to Gary because he's running this